Ready to buy a home? It's an exciting experience and one of the best investments you can make. But there are things that can go wrong, and those things can end up costing you a lot of money. I'm going to tell you the top 5 mistakes that people make, and then when we're done, I'm going to tell you how to avoid them. Here we go with number 5. Not talking to a lender before you begin your search. Why is that a problem? Well, if you go out looking at homes and say you find an $800,000 home that you fall in love with, you got to have it, so you make an offer, you put down money, use some non-refundable money as part of that, and then you go to get a mortgage afterwards. Suddenly you discover you don't qualify for an $800,000 home. So you've wasted time and you've wasted some of that money. What you need to do is go to a lender beforehand. When you go to a lender, he's going to look at your entire financial picture. He's going to look at your income, he's going to look at your debt, credit cards, car loans, all of those things. And he'll determine what they call your debt to income ratio. That's one of the big factors when it comes to getting a mortgage. So as long as you do that first, you're going to know exactly how much you can afford. Number 4, making a major purchase after you've gone under contract on a home. Why is that a problem? Well, your lender has determined what you can afford based on your debt to income ratio. If you go out and say buy a new car or buy a refrigerator or some other thing that you have to finance, that's going to change your debt to income ratio, and that could tank the whole deal. So before you do that, talk to your lender and make sure that it's not going to be a problem. Number 3, not knowing the amount of money that you need to have at closing time. Why is that a problem? Well, when you go to your lender, he'll tell you how much you need to put down. The minimum is usually around 3.5% unless you're doing a VA loan where you might be able to put down nothing. But most people put down 5 to 10%. Some people put down 20%. So let's say you put down $10,000. That's not all you're going to need on closing day because there are prepaids and closing costs. What are those? Well, for instance, in the state of Texas, you have to pay taxes for that year on the day of closing. Let's say you're closing on January 31st and the taxes for the year are $12,000. Let's make the math real easy. That's $1,000 a month. So the seller will pay for January's taxes because that's when he owned the home. You own the home from February to December. That means you now owe $11,000 in addition to the $10,000 you put down. There's also some random closing costs. They can add up to 1%. So if you're buying a $500,000 home and putting down $10,000, you could end up paying close to $26,000. That's a big mistake. Mistake number 2, and this is a really big one, not getting an inspection when you buy a home. So how much do you really know about the home that you're buying? Well, you've walked around and looked at it when you viewed the home. You've looked at the seller's disclosure notice that the seller provided to you, but there are tons of hidden things that you probably won't notice, and so you should hire a licensed inspector. They will go over the house with a fine-tooth comb and then give you a detailed report of everything they found. You then use that to negotiate with the seller for repairs. If you don't do that, you could end up with all kinds of things that you had no idea were wrong with the house after you close. And that's not something you want to find out later on after you've moved in. The biggest mistake people make? Overpaying. How do you determine if you're overpaying? Well, you take a look at the comps. Those are comparable sales. And what you want to do is you want to compare apples to apples. So how do you do that? You look at homes in the area that you are buying in that are roughly the same type of house that you're buying. If you're buying a 4-bedroom, you want to compare it to other 4-bedroom homes. If this home that you're buying has a pool, you want to compare the price to the other homes in the area that have pools. Those things matter. And you want to then take the average price per square foot. That's what appraisers and realtors look at when they are pricing homes. Now, sometimes you have to overpay. When the market is crazy and you've got 10, 15 offers on a home, the only way to get it is to overpay. If you're going to stay for a long time, that's okay because eventually the value will catch up. But if you're going to be selling in just a couple of years, you might want to reconsider that and look for a different home. So here's my advice on how to avoid all of those problems. You need to hire an experienced, licensed realtor. Why? Because they've been through all of these things before. They can guide you and help you avoid the pitfalls. And when I say experienced, Don't get somebody who's doing this on the side. You want somebody who does this all the time. And I personally would hire somebody who's been doing it at least 5 years. You want to make sure that they have sold dozens, if not hundreds of homes. That's the best way to protect yourself. I hope you found this interesting, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and check back with us from time to time. If you're looking to buy a new home, go to my website. I'll include a link in the description, and you can see the list of every home that's for sale in Dallas, Fort Worth area. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time.